Listen, this isn't just a fashion headline. This is a full-blown public ranking humiliation that hits where it hurts most: reputation, relevance, and control. Because while Princess Catherine is being crowned like an eternal influencer on a best-dressed list, Meghan is out here catching a totally different kind of crown, most disliked person of 2025. And the gag is? Both titles dropped in the same era, like the universe wanted the comparison to be unavoidable. Catherine gets the spotlight without begging for it. Meghan? It's like she's chasing the spotlight down an alley at midnight, yelling, "Wait, look at Emmy too." And then boom, Vogue hands Catherine the top spot, and Meghan gets handed a label that sticks to her like glue. And you already know this didn't land softly. Yep.
Years after exiting royal life, the Sussexes continue to dominate most disliked celebrities lists. 2025 Rankers list places Meghan Markle firmly at number 1 ahead of figures like Sean Diddy Combs, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Ellen DeGeneres. Prince Harry remains close behind, keeping both Sussexes at the top, or in the top 5.
Meghan has Catherine completely defeated in this category. This was a massive blow, and Meghan is not taking it well. Just sit back and watch how she reacted. As the year came to an end, British Vogue released its inaugural 50 Best Dressed Brits list. The list highlighted Vogue's praise for style, brand influence, and standout 2025 outfits. Princess Catherine topped the list as the best-dressed female Brit of now. Let's talk about why this stings so bad. Because Catherine didn't win by screaming, copying, or buying louder designer labels. She won by being the one thing Meghan can't stand: effortlessly accepted. That's the word that keeps circling Catherine like a halo: effortless. Regal, consistent, the kind of image you can't manufacture with PR.
Kate Middleton is one of the most approachable, beautiful girls one could ever dream of. She's always smiling, which I think is an underrated beauty regimen, which clearly she knows all about.
She earned this recognition because of her timeless regal style, her tailored blazers, her reworn pieces, and her consistency and effortless elegance. Catherine never searches for attention. Attention comes to her organically. She allows her clothes to complement her rather than overpower her. And her outfits are so mature and refined that people are inspired to recreate them. See? That right there is the knife twist. Catherine never searches for attention. Because that's the exact accusation people throw at Meghan. Trying too hard, pushing too much, forcing the moment. Catherine can rewear an outfit and people call it iconic. Meghan can wear something expensive and people call it desperate. And then we get to the most toxic comparison of all, Diana.
What we admire about her is the consistency, and surely she is still the most influential woman right now.
Meghan, on the other hand, has tried by all means to look like Princess Diana. But for Catherine, her fashion style achieves this effortlessly. When Catherine dresses, she naturally evokes the full image of Diana. Meghan, despite her expensive wardrobe and glamorous outfits that often feel forced and try hard, still ranked far below. Whew. Imagine constantly being accused of cosplay, while the woman you're competing with gets credited for naturally evoking the vibe you've been chasing for years. That's not just shade, that's a statement. You can buy the dress, but you can't buy the aura. And this is where the story gets nastier, because it's not only about style, it's about how the public reads you. Meghan's fashion becomes evidence, like people use the clothes as a courtroom exhibit. Ill-fitting, sloppy, attention-seeking, chaotic.
Mom Quinn recently said in an interview with The Mirror that Meghan Markle feels like she is Princess Diana's heir. And that is why you saw Meghan announce American Riviera Orchard in the middle of the Diana Legacy Awards.
Even though her clothes are costly, they are frequently ill-fitting. Some outfits are twice her size. She borrows clothes and fails to return them when required. She overexposes herself to attract attention. Yet the attention never comes. Even fashion designers appear tired of Meghan. That line, "yet the attention never comes," that's brutal. Because the whole point of the performance is to be seen, to be praised, to be admired. But if the crowd is staring and still not clapping, that's the kind of silence that messes with you. And then it spirals into the fashion disasters list. Moments people already clipped, replayed, dragged, and saved like receipts.
Now, in 2024, a journalist, Vanessa, revealed on Andrew Gold's Heretics podcast that Meghan Markle allegedly did not return a lot of stuff after she wore it in a very high-profile photo shoot, referring to the Variety photo set.
She wears clothes she does not bother to straighten. She seems exhausted when selecting outfits, resulting in disastrous fashion choices. Example Examples include the Australian trip, where she wore a see-through skirt. During the last stop of their royal tour, she paused to smile and greet fans during a walkabout, but she got everybody's attention for all the wrong reasons. Her skirt looked way more see-through than planned, accidentally giving the crowd a peek at her undergarments. Or do you remember when she wore this outfit?
1 million people voted. Guess who topped the list of Ranker's most disliked celebrities of 2025? All right, we got 2 and 1 left. Who's gonna be number 2? Diddy made it at number 2. Wow, who's number 1? Who's number 1? Look at that. Who is that? It's Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex.
It landed somewhere between the Joker cosplay and oversized pajamas. The coat swallowed her, the pants dragged on the ground, and the whole look felt pulled straight from a clearance rack labeled 3 sizes too big. For a so-called power appearance, she looked one wrong step away from tripping over her own hem. Proof that a $5,000 price tag still can't buy style. And you know what? Meghan has tried copying Catherine's outfits plenty of times. But that failed too, because she simply can't pull it off the way Catherine does.
The decision that I have made for my wife and I to step back is not one I made lightly. It was so many months of talks after so many years of challenges. And I know I haven't always gotten it right, but as far as this goes, there really was no other option.
I've made a whole separate video on that, so go check it out later. So while Catherine topped the best dress list, Meghan searched desperately for a list to top, and she found one for herself, the most hated celebrity list of 2025. And boom, there it is. While Catherine is sitting at the top of best dressed, Meghan is searching desperately for a list to top. That wording makes it sound like hunger, like scrambling, like needing a win so bad that even a terrible win becomes something to cling to. Because what happens next is wild. The narrative jumps from bad outfits to most hated celebrity, like public dislike isn't just about clothes, it's about everything people think she represents.
Overseas now, Prince Harry announcing plans to sue 2 major tabloids for alleged phone hacking. Harry accusing the owners of The Sun and the Daily Mirror of intercepting voicemail messages.
And when they say she was battling for the #1 spot with Diddy, that's not a flex. That's a reputational car crash. Now the story shifts to why people claim the resentment started, and it goes straight to the royal family rupture. She seems to have forgotten that public resentment began the moment she entered the royal family and caused chaos within it. Harry, once a happy prince who even founded the Invictus Games to honor veterans, was pulled away from the royal family.
My kids will see those magazines, and we all know moms gossip. And so I have to make a choice to move through the world as myself in spite of all the noise that's created. But maybe there would be less noise if people remembered that I'm a real person.
That's the spine of it, the before Meghan and after Meghan storyline that people repeat like a chant. Whether fair or not, it's the narrative that follows them everywhere. Harry was fine, then suddenly everything imploded. And then comes the part where Meghan frames the exit as survival, abuse, racism, media manipulation, while critics roll their eyes and call it strategy. When asked about the sudden departure from royal duties, Meghan claimed she was facing severe abuse, including racism. She painted herself as a victim, insisting the media constantly manipulated her story. And once the lawsuits enter the chat, it becomes war, media, tabloids, damage control, countersuits, headlines on headlines. The public doesn't see peace, they see combat. They went further by suing the Daily Mail and other tabloids, which leads right into Harry's legal crusade energy. Phone hacking claims, tabloids accused, and then suddenly Fashion Week chaos and that awkward public walk moment getting dragged too, overseas. Now, Prince Harry announcing plans to sue 2 major tabloids for alleged phone hacking. Harry accusing the owners of The Sun and the Daily Mirror of intercepting voicemail messages. Look at how she appeared at Paris Fashion Week. Her fashion choices were unimpressive. It looked as though she wrapped herself in a bed cover and walked into the show. Even her movements into the venue raised eyebrows, with her awkward Zoolander-style walk suggesting something was clearly off. Now look, it's not being received well. Certainly not as well as maybe she would have hoped, with some people labeling it as Zoolander walk. What are your thoughts? Who wouldn't dislike someone like Harry, who went as far as tarnishing the image of the royal family over security being withdrawn when he was no longer a working royal? So for me, with a whole list of risks and threats that were known about in 2020 and that have only increased over time, including the Al-Qaeda threat that was published and talked about recently, I'm completely disregarded, thrown away, ignored. Because for me, security was made conditional on having that official role. That role that everybody knows that myself and my wife wished to carry on, but was stopped from being able to do that back in 2020. What do you say to those who ask why the UK taxpayer should pay for police security? You have your own private security. And here's where the story turns from embarrassment into full reputational freefall. Because once that most hated label lands, it doesn't just sit there quietly. It spreads, it mutates, it infects every headline, every appearance, every silence. Suddenly, everything Meghan does or doesn't do gets filtered through one brutal question. Why do so many people dislike her? And the worst part? The internet thinks it already knows the answer. Meghan is now reportedly listed as one of the most disliked celebrities of 2025, battling with disgraced figures for the top spot. Critics argue that her public image has been damaged beyond repair, not by the media alone, but by her own repeated contradictions and public outbursts. That phrase, beyond repair, that's not casual commentary, that's reputational death talk. That's when people stop asking whether you can recover and start debating why you failed. And from that point on, the narrative becomes ruthless. Every interview, labeled performative. Every appearance, called calculated. Every silence, interpreted as guilt or panic. Meanwhile, Catherine does the unthinkable in celebrity culture. She says nothing. No clapbacks, no statements, no sources close to the palace. And somehow that silence keeps elevating her, because while Meghan is fighting to control the narrative, Catherine lets the narrative crown her without resistance. And that contrast? It's lethal. Catherine's popularity continues to soar precisely because she avoids drama. She does not respond to attacks, she does not explain herself, and she does not attempt to rewrite public opinion. Her presence alone reassures the public, while Meghan's presence often feels confrontational. That's the word people keep circling back to. Confrontational, as if Meghan walks into a room already arguing with ghosts, already defensive, already bracing for backlash that hasn't even arrived yet. And once the public senses that energy, it doesn't relax, it recoils. Which brings us to the rebrand spiral. Because behind the scenes, the whispers grow louder, new PR teams, new strategies, new angles. 1 minute it's activism, next minute it's lifestyle, then it's motherhood, then it's Hollywood power player, then it's victim again, then it's survivor, then it's silent, then it's speaking out. And the audience? Exhausted. Sources claim Meghan is scrambling to salvage her public image, cycling through multiple PR strategies in quick succession. However, critics say the constant rebranding only reinforces the idea that she lacks authenticity. That word again, authenticity. The one thing you can't fake, rehearse, or buy. And once people decide you don't have it, every move becomes suspect. Even her supporters start sounding tired. Even neutral observers start disengaging. Because people don't hate chaos, they hate inconsistency masquerading as truth. And then there's Harry. Because as the criticism sharpens around Meghan, Harry doesn't escape the blast radius. In fact, some argue he absorbs it and amplifies it. Public frustration with Prince Harry has grown alongside resentment toward Meghan. Many believe he abandoned his family, his country, and his role, only to repeatedly demand privileges he no longer holds. That's the contradiction people can't swallow. You walked away, but you still want the benefits. And every legal fight, every security complaint, every courtroom appearance reinforces the image of entitlement rather than injustice. And while Harry argues about risk and protection, Catherine quietly visits hospitals, schools, and charities without cameras chasing her meltdown, without lawsuits trailing her footsteps. The comparison doesn't need commentary anymore. It speaks for itself. While Catherine continues her royal duties with grace and restraint, Meghan's public appearances are increasingly met with skepticism and ridicule. Social media reactions suggest that many no longer believe her narrative. That's the point of no return, when people stop believing you. Not disagreeing, not debating, just disengaging emotionally. And indifference is worse than criticism, because critics still care, indifferent people don't. And once that happens, the most hated list stops being a shock, it becomes a confirmation. The irony? Meghan once positioned herself as the modernizer, the disruptor, the woman who would redefine royal relevance. But instead of rewriting the rules, she ended up reinforcing the oldest lesson of all. Public trust is fragile, and once shattered, it rarely reassembles the same way. Meanwhile, Catherine never tried to modernize anything. She just stayed steady. And steadiness, boring as it sounds, turns out to be magnetic. Analysts note that Catherine's strength lies in her predictability. The public knows what to expect from her. In contrast, Meghan's unpredictability has become a liability rather than an asset. Predictable, reliable, calm. Those aren't viral traits, but they build something far stronger than virality: trust. And that's why one woman tops the best dressed list without trying, while the other tops the most hated list while trying too hard. It's not about clothes. It's not about titles. It's not even about royalty anymore. It's about how the public feels when your name appears in a headline: relief or resistance. And right now, the verdict couldn't be clearer.